Hello and welcome to another episode of the Expert CPG Commerce Podcast. My name is Ryan Flynn, the founder and CEO of Expert CPG Commerce, where we help brands reach more customers on Amazon and beyond. And today's episode, you just get me. There's no guest, it's just me, but I'm here to walk through 5 different tips for you to maximize your sales on Amazon, right? We're going to walk through 5 different things. And it's simple things, right? It's things that you might even be like, after you listen to them and hear it, you're like, oh my gosh, how did I not think of that, right? And it's a thing we see all the time though with brands, right? Because brands are in the middle of building their business and it's hard to do everything and do it well. And sometimes you need that outsider's perspective. And that's a great segue to talk to you about how we help brands, because a lot of companies can just tell you what they do. But we actually want to show companies what they can do on Amazon, right? So we offer an audit. And this is an in-depth account audit where we take a look under the hood of Seller Central on their product pages, and we tell brands the opportunities that they're missing on Amazon. The things are doing well too, but also, frankly, there's a lot of opportunities that these brands have they just don't know about. And we've done countless number of these audits already, and it's very eye-opening for brands to see. So if you just go to expertcpg.com/audit, just fill out this information there, and we'll get back to you on how to complete the audit and how we can do that for you. Again, expertcpg.com/audit. Again, so we can show you everything you could be doing on Amazon. All right, now let's get to those 5 tips to maximize your sales on Amazon. Okay, so we talk to a lot of brands here at Expert CPG Commerce, and brands, in companies that are growing, I get it. There's a lot going on. Amazon should not be the thing you're focused on. You should be focused on, your product, other sales channels, and there's lots of other fires to put out, and Amazon should be one of those. But we get it. Like it's hard to do that. And what I'm going to talk about today is just five things that a brand can do to really move the needle, really make an impact. They're simple things, right? And so we're just going to go through these 5 things that you yourself, if you're listening to this in the car, you can listen back to it, or hopefully you're watching this. I'm going to share my screen a bit, and we're just going to talk about these 5 simple things that you can do to help maximize your sales on Amazon. All right, tip number 1 for maximizing your sales on Amazon is, first of all, understanding the customer journey. So again, we all get busy and we all are putting out fires in our business. We're all, dealing with employee issues, dealing with product issues, dealing with customer issues. And it can be really easy to put your blinders on and just pull up your Amazon page on your desktop and say, yeah, things look good. Or, yeah, I think my ad campaigns are going well. But do me a favor for a minute. Just imagine that you're the customer. You're the customer anyway all the time, right? You're buying other people's products. But we frequently don't stop and think like this ourselves, right? So stop what you're doing. Take off your brand hat and put on your customer hat and go to Amazon and start looking for your product. Start the customer journey the way they would start it, right? You're going to see things in a whole different light. As a part of this, you're viewing this probably on your computer, desktop, laptop. You're viewing your Amazon page on a full window, which is fine. But guess what? These days, 65% of purchases happen on a mobile phone. So majority of your purchases are happening on somebody's phone, but you're optimizing it for desktop or a laptop, larger screen, could be a tablet, right? We used to do the same thing as an agency. We used to always look at things on a desktop or laptop and say, oh, this looks great. But then we started realizing, well, wait, all these mobile views, let's do this. So what you see here, I have on my screen, I'll link to it also in the show notes for those maybe that are just listening. Mobile Simulator Responsive Testing Tool, Chrome extension. So again, Mobile Simulator Responsive Testing Tool. It's a Chrome extension. It's free. You install it, and here's what it does, right? So here I am on Amazon.com, right? Looks like a normal desktop, laptop page. If I click that little extension button and I hit Activate Mobile View on this page, it's automatically kind of giving me a little outline of an iPhone, and it's showing me what essentially the Amazon site would look like on a mobile browser, or close enough to an app. It's not the exact app experience, but it's pretty darn close. And the pages are going to look very similar here. So again, I'm looking at it here and I can interact with this. I can scroll down, right? I can search. So I'm going to type in kid-friendly granola bars, hit enter. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing things that look drastically different on mobile here than they would on a desktop browser, right? So then you can see, I mean, and then you can, by the way, you can go back. So I can remove this, go back to normal desktop view. This looks like a wholly different site, to be quite honest with you, right? I can see an ad across the top. I've got sponsored product listing here. I've got actually 3 organic results here at the top. But man, when I flip back to that mobile view, I see 1 sponsored brand listing. Then I see 2 sponsored product listings. But like to see that 3rd organic listing, I actually have to scroll down pretty darn far. When I'm on desktop or laptop, it's above the fold. So it's a drastically different experience. So install this extension, view it like your customer. Search for your product, right? If let's say I am this, if I'm the Scout Organic Kids Snack Bar. So I'm going to type that in there. I'm going to go down to the first organic listing, click on it, right? I'm interacting this with like I'm on my phone. I'm clicking, but I'm essentially simulating someone, touching their finger on the phone. And here's what I'm doing. I can interact just like I would, on my phone. I can see everything here, right? So this is vital. You're going to get a whole different look at your Amazon listing. And Amazon, by the way, is always changing how mobile looks too. They're always, changing like the order of things, like the images typically now, but you see things drastically different when you're on a mobile listing. So again, take the journey your customers would, type in your brand name, type in your top keywords, search for it using a mobile emulator, or you can just use your phone, pull up your phone and do it. But I like doing this better because I'm viewing on a big screen. I'm kind of thinking about how it looks, how it feels, and doing that way. So that's tip number 1. Okay, tip number 2 for maximizing your Amazon sales. Tip number 2 is simply owning your space on Amazon, right? People are hearing about your product everywhere. They're hearing about it in an Instagram ad. They're seeing it and buying it in the store. A friend told them about it at a barbecue last weekend, right? And what are people doing? They're going to Amazon. They're typing in the name of your product, your brand name, your product name. They could be one of the same depending on your brand, but that's what customers are doing. And you need to meet the customer where they're at. Otherwise, your competition is. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, here I am on my mobile version of Amazon again, right? I'm looking at it. So I'm actually going to type in this Cascadian Farm, right? I'm going to type in Cascadian Farm. It's a brand name. Here's what pops up on mobile. Cascadian Farm, the first thing I'm getting is a sponsored brand ad from a company called Nutrail. Definitely probably a Cascadian Farm competitor. And guess what? I'm seeing nothing else on the page right now. This is actually a scrolling ad with a carousel of images. There's different ad types you can do up here and the sponsored brand potentially, but like right away, I typed in Cascadian Farm. I'm not seeing any other products just because I'm working on a small screen. That's all I'm seeing, right? And so you've got to wonder, as a brand, as I'm sitting here, our customers, hopefully customers are scrolling past this. They heard about your product, but guess what? If this ad's catchy enough and they're not locked into buying your product, they can click on this Nutrail ad and guess what? They're gone. But they came for your product. You put so much hard work in that brand name and building your brand that you want to show up there. So if I scroll down, however, Cascadian Farm does have a sponsored product ad. They actually have two sponsored product ads. So that's good, right? They have 2 sponsored product ads for their brand name, but they don't have a sponsored brand ad here. Scroll down a little farther, I see a bunch of their products, right? I'm seeing some more sponsored product. I'm just looking to see if I see a sponsored brand video ad here. And there's one. So I'm seeing again, this is a sponsored brand video ad from Popcorners, another brand. Again, different ad type. So again, Cascadian Farm, you could have your own video ad rolling here in the middle of the page. Someone's going down that far. They're still probably looking for your product. They're typing your brand name, but you've got a competitor there. Now you're maybe thinking, Ryan, why do I have to pay for this? Why do I have to pay to simply show up where people are searching for my brand anyway, right? Well, guess what? It's a defensive strategy. If you're not doing it, your competitors are. And these actually are really cheap ad campaigns to run. They have amazing return, right? And it's worth it. Again, you're not there, somebody else is. You want the loyalty to be there, but if it's a first purchase, they might not be that loyal. So that's tip number 2, owning the space on Amazon when you can. All right, tip number 3 for maximizing your sales on Amazon. Again, viewing things through your customer's hat, right? Thinking about feature benefits, but let's talk about like getting them to your listing, right? Let's talk about they're in the search results page, and let's talk about what looks great and what's going to drive them through, because customers are really only shown a few different data points when they're on the search page, right? They see obviously the main image, they see the price point, they see the beginning of the title, maybe the first 40, 50-ish, 55-ish characters of the title. They're going to see it's Prime. They're going to see any kind of discounts usually show up in the search page. So they're going to see just a few data points, right? And the way our eyes work, we're just kind of scanning the page and we're taking all these in really quickly, right? And the other main thing they're looking at, though, is your main image, right? You got to get them to click through to go into your product listing compared to all your competitor listings, right? All the other things you're seeing on the page. So let's take a look at some examples here. All right, here we are on an Amazon search page. I moved over to desktop for this one because you can just see more, but we'll flow into mobile here in a second. But I just wanted to use this. Just look at the imagery on this page. Just look at the images. I typed in softballs into Amazon, right? Really interesting, by the way. I'm getting like these practice balls here as a sponsored brand ad here at the top. A big opportunity for any softball brands out here to capture this, because this is not a very what I would consider a very high converting ad here at the top. I'm looking for softball. So let's scroll down, right? I've got 4 sponsored listings across the top. I'm going to ignore those. I'm just going to go down to the first 4 organic results, which are these 4 you see across the screen here, right? And so for, again, audio version only, I know you're kind of imagining this as you drive along maybe, or listen to this when you're walking or running, but I'll try to describe as best as possible. First listing is a set of Franklin balls. I see 4 balls in the main image, and they're arranged strictly in like a grid pattern, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. So across, 2 on top, 2 on the bottom. The next one is a Rawlings. It's a 6 count, and they're all in the packaging. They're all in the Rawlings packaging, like in a retail box. The third one is I see pictured. Gosh, I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 balls. I guess it looks like there's 5 in a bag, a mesh bag, and there's a 6th ball outside the bag. It does say there's a 6-pack, so I'm seeing 6 balls in there. That lines up. And the 4th listing is a giant bucket, Rawlings bucket. It says 18 practice softballs. The balls are kind of coming out the top of the bucket. It's like a 5-gallon bucket. It's a neon bucket. There's a lid propped up against it. These are 4 totally different images, right? And I'm not saying any of them are right or wrong. The Rawlings one I'm not crazy about. The Rawlings one is retail packaging, and it looks like a really low quality image. So we're going to say that one's the worst. But that one actually is the overall pick. Amazon has that pegged as. When I look at the other ones, I'm looking at the 4-pack, which interesting here is, we talk about people are only looking at certain things. I see 4 softballs in this listing, but at the beginning of the description, I can't see how many balls are actually in the listing, right? It's actually, I'm going to have to click into the listing here, and it looks like it's 1-pack, 4-pack plus 12 ball bulk packs. I don't know what that means. So potentially there's a 4-pack, but it's plus 12 ball bulk pack. So it looks like they have the names of the variants. That's very strange. So they have each variant names and all the title, which is not great. Or I guess I'm selecting here from the parent. So if I go to the 4-pack listing, let's see what that says. It doesn't say 4-pack. It's the same exact title. That's crazy. So guess what? Your customer, they don't know if they're getting 4 balls or not. There obviously are in this case, but is this the right listing? What's the listing? It's 1868. Let's take a look here. Yeah, that is the right listing, but that's really, I don't know, not a great lineup there of like what I'm getting in the actual picture versus am I getting the same thing here, right? And by the way, you can usually sometimes, it depends on the variant, but I don't know if they have it here in this category. They probably don't. A pack size, right? Very common in the grocery and food and stuff to have like a pack size. Amazon puts a little badge image. If they don't put one, you can put one yourself, make it look like Amazon's. Little pro tip, probably against the terms of service technically, but it does work. So this one's a 4-pack. The 6-pack of balls, not bad. I mean, it's given them in a bag. That's like an added bonus, right? If you've ever had kids play sports, especially like softball or baseball, You don't want to be like just holding these. Typically you might have a bag you obviously carry with bats and gloves and the balls in them. But like if you got a separate bag here, that's like a value add right there. So that's awesome. And for the bucket, not bad. I would maybe put 18 balls on there somewhere or something like that. But and maybe a different angle slightly. But again, you can just see that it how you view these, and it can be totally different. And by the way, you can split test these imageries, right? The imagery of your main image now. Amazon doesn't give you great data. They give you sales data. They don't give you actually click-through data yet. I wish they would. Hopefully if someone's Amazon listening, please do that. But they don't give you actually click-through data of the different images, but you can actually split test two different images. So you should always try to experiment with this stuff. See which one might work better. See which one might get better sales overall, right? And then also look at what your competition's doing, right? Sometimes it's good to do what the competition's doing because they have really good imagery. Sometimes everyone's zigging and you want to zag, right? So everyone's showing the same exact type of imagery and you want to show something different. And again, these are some of the main points, the main things people are going to look at when they go to your listing. So let's just real quick for fun, go over to the mobile listing right here. I see a different ad there. And again, I'm just seeing single balls here for the sponsored product listings. I go down here, I start seeing those organic ones. Yeah, that Rawlings retail packaging one is pretty bad. I mean, that should just be, it should be gone, right? I'd argue the 6-pack of balls, maybe they could actually make that look a little taller, potentially fill up more of the white space, something like that. And I'm going down, I'm seeing, again, here's 2 balls. Here's that bucket again. The bucket doesn't really translate great to mobile, but it does. I mean, people can see it's a bucket, so that one does kind of speak for itself. So again, vitally important to have that main image right on your listing. The fourth way to maximize your sales on Amazon is to simply have great imagery, great alternate imagery, the second, third, fourth, fifth images that people see on the page. Let's use a real life example here. Okay, our example here is we found a natural cat litter product, right? This one's called Naturally Fresh. And here I am on the mobile version of the Amazon page. And by the way, again, I'm a customer, I'm on mobile. I need cat litter. I want a new one. I want natural cat litter. That is such, and regular cat litter, it's not natural, but that's what people are going to type in most likely. Again, I'm not seeing any text besides the title. I can see the reviews right away. I can see the price point. I just want to know about the product. So here's my choices. I could scroll down, right, on this mobile page, scroll down. Amazon collapses a lot of the text now anyway. They've got the images first, which I'll go back to here in a second. They've got the A+ page, but are people scrolling all the way down? You hope so. If not, guess what they're doing? They're just flipping through the images here at the top of the screen, right? And so here's what they're seeing. Here's the main image, right? The second image is the back of the packaging. And this one drives me nuts as well. There's a ton of information, great information on the back of this packaging. I'm not disagreeing with that. However, you're relying on people to having a high quality image. People actually pinch to zooming. So what they should do is they should take this image and break this into about 5 other images. There's actually some really good stuff here. So they could actually talk about this same stuff in their other images. Let's look at the other images for the sake of it, right? Third image, just an angled version of the bag. Horrible. I don't need to see the bag again. I know what the bag looks like. They're showing me the packaging changed. Okay, that's important. Customers that's a big thing with changing packaging. You do want to educate the customer. I would actually put this as the second image, frankly, because someone would be like, is this really it? Or hopefully they're getting to the fourth image to see that. The fifth image is strictly just a pile of natural kitty litter. And that's horrible. Like there's no text on this image. It just looks like a pile of dirt. It's apparently kitty litter. There's no call outs, feature benefits. I'm not seeing anything around this. All right, we're getting a little better here, but we're already the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th image in. We're getting into some of the information that might be in the back of the bag. I did see quick clumping formula in the back of the bag there, so that's called out here. Here's the thing, though. That text is way too small. I can barely read that. Someone on their phone's not going to be able to read that. I'm looking at this on a giant monitor in a mobile emulator, right? Too much on the screen, too. We need to really cut this about in half of the information it provides. Here's another one. Way too much information. I get what they're trying to say, but they're saying it lasts 3 times longer. Just say that, and then just do the illustration. I would, all that stuff is really not necessary. Maybe one other call out, and then these badges and made in America. I would put those on its own image. Frankly, these badges are really small. Make these big, right? If someone's searching for natural kitty litter, they most likely have an affinity for being biodegradable, sustainable, renewable energy, that kind of thing. Instructions. I don't know if I'd put instructions for kitty litter here on the images. You could, I guess, at the end, but I think people know how to use kitty litter. Made from natural walnut shells. I didn't know what this was made from, so maybe this needs to be towards the end of the, beginning of the carousel, right? That'd be a great question. So again, not a fantastic job here of telling the customer what it is. Are they getting this far, right? Or are they backing out, going to the search results? So let's look at another option and see what it looks like when someone does images right. Okay, here we have another option. And this one is called Feline Pine. Love the name. And this looks like it's an Armor Hammer product. So big brand, right? Huge brand. And you'd expect big brands to have great imagery, and not all brands do, but this one is not bad. So let's take a look at it. Let's click into it, right? That's what the customer's doing. First of all, the bag fills up this. I love this. We'll talk about this in a little bit here. That this fills up the white screen perfectly. I love that. So let's look at the second image here. Bam, you've got a picture of a cat. You've got 4 badges along the side. And this is, by the way, I guarantee a stock image of a cat. Arm & Hammer's not going out and doing a photo shoot in pine trees with cats. Maybe they are. They probably have the money too. But they've got badges here on the right. No harsh chemicals, fragrance free, all natural, less tracking and dust, and they all have icons accompanying with them. That's the first image after the main image, I should say. Then you actually see the kitty litter and the third image in. It's kitty litter in a box. It says natural pine and Arm & Hammer baking soda soak up liquid to lock away unwanted odors. That, my friends, is a feature benefits statement, and those are gold, right? It has natural pine and Arm & Hammer baking soda, right? That's your feature. Your benefit is soaks up liquid to lock away unwanted odors. Now, I would even argue they should put that text larger because it is kind of hard to read. I do like the way they put the stock image of the pine trees in the background. That's a great image. I love that. That should actually, in my opinion, be image number 2. And then they say on the third one, no new trees are cut down. Sourced from kiln-dried shavings, reclaimed from lumber production. A stock image of some trees. Next one, best natural odor control with no added fragrances. They got badges again. They've got some stock imagery in the background. They got easy to use. They talk about transitioning. So, I don't have to transition my cat to this from the current litter, right? But I would, again, there's a lot on this slide. I would maybe make this 2 different slides, 2 different images. It just depends. But if you really want to know how to work it, then this is okay. Again, someone has to really zoom in though. The easy to use, what I would do is I would probably get rid of easy to transition. I would just do easy to use and make those 4 steps be in 4 different quadrants instead of all the way across there. Next ones are roots in the Pine Promise, right? So it talks about it beginning in 19. It gives it a little history of the Feline Pine brand, right? Well, I love that. All brands talk about their history, by the way. Even if you're a brand that's a year old, talk about your history. Low dust, little mess, right? And gentle for kitty paws. So you can tell here, by the way, at the end, these last 2 images I can see, these look like different. This is like a different style. The other ones are made in the same style with the same similar colors, stock photography. These last 2 seem like they were made previously. I would get rid of those. And I would, remake them in the same style as the other. So almost they had 2 different designers at one time. These are probably real old ones from maybe years ago, but they kept them on when they refreshed the listing. So, but again, now I know. I mean, I know more about this feline pine cat litter than I don't know. I'm not a cat guy, but like I know more about this than I ever have before in any cat litter. So it's because that I've read I've just gone through the images. I haven't read anything about the text of the product, right? That's what your customers are doing. They're going through here and they're actually looking and seeing the imagery. And if you just have stock images, if you just have 4 different angles of your packaging, don't do that. Don't do that. That's bad. You need to convey feature benefits, and you can do it really well these days with stock photography. You can do it yourself with like Canva, right? Or you can have a professional do it. But it's easy to do, right? And you need to optimize this stuff for mobile. All right, for this example, we have Packers Pine. And actually, on a recent podcast episode, David Zelkin from Packers Pine joined us, told us all about the history of the brand, his involvement with it. Great story. Go listen to it if you haven't checked it out anyway. But I just want to use this as an example of everything you should be doing on your Amazon pages, right? So this is kind of checking a lot of the boxes. So first of all, here you got all the images, right? I can look at that. Again, I'm looking at this on desktop to show you just everything. I'll flip over to the mobile version here in a minute too. It's got a couple videos up here, and the reason how you get those, you have to click obviously on the videos here to get them to play. But he's got that. He's got a fully thought out title here. He's got bullet points, and again, wow, looks great, right? But no, let's keep going, right? As I start scrolling down the page, right, I'm looking at things like even on the right hand side, he's got subscribe and save, right? He's got a promotion up here, 10% on select 2 items, right? So he's already taking advantage of some other things that may seem, oh yeah, subscribe if I have that, but are you doing little promotions like where, these things? And this actually one might be done by Amazon, but I don't think this one is. Sometimes Amazon will do this themselves. Let's put these promotions on. So I scroll down, right? And this is really interesting. You've actually got another one of his products targeting his own. I love this. I talked about this a lot internally as a team. You've got his own product. Another one of his products is shampoo targeting his soap, right? So again, it's a whole defensive strategy of not having your your competitors show up here. You should show up here. All right, scrolling down a little farther, this is what I want to highlight, right? You see frequently bought together. That's been on Amazon forever. Up above that, you have make it a bundle. What are bundles? What are virtual bundles? A lot of people still don't know about virtual bundles. They've been out for, I don't know, a year or two now. Essentially, you can bundle items virtually. You don't have to send them into the warehouse together. You send them in separately, separate items or separate SKUs. Then you create a virtual SKU where Amazon puts those together as one unit, theoretically, that someone can buy, and Amazon sends them out together, or ideally they send them out together. But it's one item. So it really increases your average order value, right? So here Packers Pine is bundling the soap and shampoo and some shampoo, and there's a dish. There's probably a conditioner, body wash here, right? So you have 4 different bundles. So I'm taking up more space on the page that that essentially is just available free to me. It doesn't cost anything to do on any of this, right? Obviously, you've got ads, but then look at this. This is a brand story. Brand stories, again, are relatively new in the last, I don't know, year and a half, and a lot of brands still aren't using them. Brand stories are, again, another great way, and you can just scroll over here, and this one looks really good with that mountain and the tree in the back. You can link to different things here. You can link to like different products, which is here. So, wow, this is just really engaging somebody here, right? And as I scroll down, you're not just going to see an A+ page. You're going to see a premium A+ page. And premium A+ page, you can do video, right? You can make it interactive, right? This looks great with some of the stock photography, but also some great product photography, and this looks amazing. This looks better than any standard A+ page. The other day I was working with a client. We were auditing their a potential client, their storefront, and they had like an old school A+ page. I mean, those things really look, they show their age there. As I scroll down, guess what? You've got another spot for videos. You can put other videos in your product. There's a little upload your video here. Just make sure you're logged into your correct account, your Seller Central account, and you can actually upload additional like smaller videos. Like here's some use. One's a product video. They've also got like a UGC video, and you could clip up a bunch of them. And actually, sometimes Amazon, lately I've been seeing this be blank. If you don't have a video in this spot, Amazon will actually show you competitor videos there. So really interesting stuff there. Again, as I scroll down, you kind of loot, then you've got reviews, and that's really, you can't really manipulate much else in that. But look at all the things that we were able to manipulate, right? And let's go down over to the, bring it all together, going over to the mobile version, right? And by the way, look at this main image on mobile. Look how much that package type fills up that box, right? If you look at this in the search results, that completely fills that image, which is great. Virtual bundles. Wow. Amazon, they keep experimenting where they're putting virtual bundles at. This might be the first time I've seen them right below here, but virtual bundles being right below the main image, right? So even before I'm going to the buy box, Amazon's showing me an option to buy more, which is really interesting from this brand. You can influence that, which is awesome. So I go past the buy box here, and then I'm seeing all the images, right? We talked about all these images. Guess what? Amazon, those images are this compelling that they're putting them right down the page when you scroll. And then I'm going right into this A+ page, right? And I'm seeing all the stuff from the A+ page here. And by the way, you might notice some of the stuff wasn't on the other A+ page. Do you know why? Because you can actually have separate versions, mobile and desktop A+ pages. This is a great example of that, right? Because some of that stuff was really wide on the last A+ page, but here you can have a separate version here. And again, you can kind of have this drop down here. This looks great. This looks great. And guess what? Here's the bullets, right? The bullets are literally 75% of the way down the page. Are people even getting here to read this stuff? Probably not, right? So you still got to take advantage of the bullets. They're huge for SEO, right? And they are important. People do read them. But I guarantee you, I've already made my mind of what I'm going to buy. If I'm the customer, I'm going to buy Packers Pine by the time I've gotten down here, right? I got to go back up and hit buy. I'm not even going to get down to this text here. So again, completing everything you can on the page, taking advantage of all those space, that is vital for increasing your sales on Amazon. All right. So again, the 5 tips for maximizing your Amazon sales. Number 1, understanding your customer journey, putting your customer hat on, seeing it through the lens your customer does. Number 2, owning your brand space, right? Someone searches for your product, your brand name, you got to show up there. Next 2, actually, we'll just cover them both at the same time. Imagery, right? Your main product images, getting people to drive into your product pages from having great imagery on that front page. And of course, all the additional imagery you have there, the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th images on your product listing in your image stack there. And the very last one, as we talked about with Packers Pine, maximizing all that content on Amazon. If you do all those things, your Amazon sales are going to grow. You just need to do it, right? You just need to take the time. If you take a little bit of care and do that, and you will see results. If you can't do it, hire somebody to do it. But it is vital, because guess what? If you're not doing it, your competition is, and that's just going to show over time in your sales. All right, I hope that was a really insightful episode. Obviously, you just got me today, but I think it was really practical advice, right? I mean, it's, again, things when you're hearing that, you're thinking, that does make sense, right? And I should do it that way. But again, to no fault of anyone, if you're, your brand, you're listening and watching this, and you're thinking, how did I not see that? Don't worry, we get it. We get our blinders on. We kind of forget what the outside world looks like until we do put that customer hat on, until we do look our listing through the lens of someone that's going to buy stuff, right? So again, hopefully those tips were impactful for you. And hopefully you found this episode and all of our episodes impactful. The thing you can do for us is really to help us out is please rate us, review us, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Whatever platform you're watching or listening to on this, there's some way you can do that. Please do it. It just helps grow the podcast and get us out to more people, so they can listen and they can get these same tips, right? And if you found this Bible, send it to a friend. Send the link to a friend, and they can check it out as well. All right, that's all for today. We'll see you on the next episode of the Expert CPG Commerce Podcast.